AMANSEM Day, Affairs of the Nation Day. We deal with issues affecting us as a collective, as Ojira mind, the purified Ojira, Omain nation, mine in the land of the setting sun, the West. So this is our designation for Afurakani, Afuraitkaitnit people, African Black people in the Western Hemisphere. So we have 4 broadcasts on a weekly basis. We have Kanfo Nanasom, Ancient Authentic, Akan, Ancestral Religion on Jodan Monday night. We have Ojira Purification on Tuesday nights, where we deal with ancestral religion in general, not just the Akan expression as we do on Monday nights, but on Jodan Monday nights, but on Tuesday nights, Abenada, we deal with Ojira Purification, ancestral religion in general, how it impacts every aspect of our lives. Ojira Purification, as we say, operationalizes Nanasom. Purification operationalizes our practice of ancestral religion, which is the ritual incorporation of divine law, the ritual restoration of divine balance. So we deal with various expressions of ancestral religion and how they impact every thought, intention, and action, and therefore every aspect of our lives when we're functioning harmoniously. On day nights, Awukuda, Akuada Wednesday nights, we have Egua Marketplace. We showcase Afurakani, Afuraitkaitnit businesses, organizations, and institutions, those who are serving Afurakani, Afuraitkaitnit community in positive capacity. Also those who are in the context that serve the community. Part of our Egua Marketplace show is rooted in our economic development model. It is an approach to economic development rooted in our ancestral religious values. Part of the process is what we call Starve the Beast and Feed the Pride. That means an assessment on a weekly basis to determine what funds we would have potentially wasted with the white offspring, and then we starve the beast and feed the pride. We reallocate those funds away from the white business and direct them to the business, organization, or institution that we can target one Afuraitkaitnit institution per week for 52 weeks for optimal capital infusion. When you starve the beast and divide and direct $10 from a white business that you would have wasted and direct it to the business of the week, that's transfer $10 of capital to a black business. When 1,000 people in that process is transferred just in 7 days of $10,000 away from white businesses, all directed to a black business. And then they are able to hire in the community, hire full-time employees in our community, of course. They're able to expand their product service to us, service at a greater capacity, and it's simply, as we always say, a win-win situation. If we do not engage the process, then we are leaving that $10,000 in the hands of the whites and their offspring, and therefore we are financing our own oppression by default. So we must engage that process to starve the beast and feed the pride on a weekly, even on a daily basis. So, AMANSEM, as we said, is the affairs of the nation, things that are affecting us as a collective. We need a specific kind of approach to deal with issues. African people, African Black people in the Western Hemisphere. We deal with Amaniye, nationism, the purification. We talk about Amaniye or nationism, the things of the nation or nationism, and nationist approach. Afurakani, Afuraitkaitnit, or African Black nationism, the purification of nationalism. We recognize the reality rooted in our culture, rooted in truth, that in Oman nation in the real sense is when we are drawn collectively and we coalesce collectively, naturally moved by our Nsamanfo, our ancestresses and ancestors, our direct blood circle. We're moved to collect or coalesce in a specific region of the Earth Mother. We blend ancestral blood circles in that specific region, bringing specific ancestresses and ancestors back from certain matriclans and patriclans and so forth. So we interface with the Earth Mother in a specific region of her body. We are in the Western Hemisphere. We're operating and interfacing with the Earth Mother, Asase Afur, the fertile Earth Mother, in this region of her body. The way the Abosom, the Orisha, the Vodou manifest in this region of the Earth body is unique to this region. The way we interface with the Earth Mother in this region is rooted in the unique emanation of energy coming from her in this region. And we tie ourselves and bind ourselves to her in this region through not only consuming the plant life, mineral life, animal life, and so forth, but also engaging ritual spirit possession. We become tied or bound to the region in that regard. We have children who are the first indigenous to the region. After we have migrated, you don't become indigenous because you migrate somewhere. You become indigenous in the true sense, and only Afurakani, Afuraitkaitnit people, African Black people, can become indigenous because you indigenize yourself through tying yourself to the abosom, the forces in nature animate the region. When they possess our people and transform our bodies and transform our spirits and the cells that make up our bodies, and then we have children, those transformed cells that carry the energy of the region of the Earth Mother upon which we dwell, because we have interfaced with her, have been guided and influenced and infused by her energy. Those children are resonating at the frequency of this region. They're the firstborn who are indigenous to the land. Since the whites in their offspring cannot be possessed by the forces in nature, they can never indigenize themselves to any region of the earth. That includes white Europeans, white Americans, white Latinos, white pseudo-Native Americans, migrant Asians, white Hindus, white Arabs, and so forth. None of these groups, no non-Black people, can indigenize themselves to any aspect of the Earth Mother because they are spirits of disorder. So whether the white Asians in Asia or when they migrate and invade the Western Hemisphere thousands of years ago and came in contact with us, our people who are already here, it doesn't matter how long these white invading criminal Asians have been here, after encountering us here, they never become indigenous anywhere because they cannot support the forces in nature, therefore they cannot bind themselves to the region, any region of the Earth Mother, Abosom, Orisha, Voodoo manifest. So, when you get more or less in a certain region of the Earth Mother, blend ancestral blood circle, interface with her based on that blending, you develop a locative identity and so forth. And with us in the Western Hemisphere, so we have become a unique collective of Afurakani, Afuraitkaitnit people, African Black people in the Western Hemisphere. We're Ojiraman, the purified nation. We have restored ourselves, purified ourselves, and restoring our ancestral religion and culture. So we're Ojiraman. So we have a nationist approach, understanding what a nation really is. Our people have been infected with Christianity, Islam, white culture, socialism, approaches to life. We didn't understand what nationhood was because we were using a Eurocentric mindset to define that. So we call ourselves African or nationalists or Black nationalists or Pan-African nationalists and so forth. It was always coming from a Eurocentric understanding. Some of our people had the right idea with regard to the motivation or inspiration to come together as Black people and do something for ourselves, but we still had that mindset. It wasn't a spiritual foundation rooted in ancestral culture because we have been conditioned away from that. So the separation with regard to Pan-Africanism or nationalism or Pan-African nationalism and so forth, the separation from that to our ancestral religious practices rooted in our blood circles, our spiri-genetic blood circles. We have restored reality. So the real definition of what nationhood, nation building is, restoration. So when we talk about Amanye, we're talking about nationism, the purification of nationalism, a real understanding of a nation being a living, breathing entity, just like your organ is an entity, a living, breathing entity that has a function, and the cells who are children of the organ are interdependent upon one another. They have their own function, but they also support the function of the entity that they are governed by. Our nation is a living, breathing entity governed by specific abosom, orisha, voodoo, and we are cells within that entity. We have our own function, but they are interdependent. Functions are interdependent as cells. We're children of this organ, this structure, this nation. And then we must have a nationist approach based on the energy that governs the nation and governs us. So we have a different approach. All problems, obstacles, issues, and so forth must be addressed, rooted in that nationist identity. And this is what we're dealing with. So, our focus today, we're going to make sure we have the information up, make sure everything is cool. And if there are any sound problems, just let us know in the chat room, and then we can correct that for those who came in a little bit later. So, all right. So the information for today, AKYISAN NKOSO, Ancestral Religious Reversion Movement. So, for some of you who have seen on our website, on our pages, and for some who are new, AKYISAN, the term AKY means back, sign means return. AKYISAN means to return back. This is the term that we use as definitions existing in the Akan language, but they're directly descended from the language of ancient Kanit and Kemet. So chi in ancient Kemet means back, and sign also means to return. AKYISAN, return back. What we're talking about is reversion. When we talk about ancestral religion, we don't engage in conversion or transforming someone into something. If you let them alone, they would never embrace. It lives in fictional cartoon characters like Jesus, Yeshua, Muhammad, Abraham, Isaac, Ishmael, Solomon, Sheba, Mendel, Moses, Aaron, Yahweh, Allah, Brahman, Buddha, and so forth. All of these fictional cartoon characters never existed of any race or in any form whatsoever. You have to be converted into that nonsense. We're talking about ancestral religious reversion, AKYISAN, returning back. So we have our AKYISAN conference coming up in March, on March 12th here in Washington, D.C. This is the second annual AKYISAN conference. Ancestral religious reversion, reverting back to our original pristine state, when we were forced from Afuraka, Afuraitkait, Africa, a few hundred years ago, forced into the Western Hemisphere. The manner in which we practice our ancestral religion and express that hundreds of years ago, as we were forced into the Western Hemisphere, the manner in which we practice and expressed our ancestral religious practices was fossilized in our bones and blood. It was a time stamp. So that original pristine expression we carried in our blood circle. And that tradition is what we have passed down intergenerationally and transcarnationally here in the Western Hemisphere, inclusive, of course, in North America. What has taken place since we left the continent for the past couple of hundred years, some people getting infected with Islam and Christianity and white culture in general and socialism and so forth, we were already separate when that took place. So the traditions that were in our blood circles in the 12,700s, 12,800s, 12,900s, the so-called 17, 18, and 1900s, that tradition that we carried in our blood circle, that pristine tradition is what we have passed on, what we have maintained. It has manifested in the Western Hemisphere. The Akan ancestral religion, as we have proven in our books, is called Hoodoo in North America. The Akan term do, which is medicine, from plant life, roots, and so forth. It all may become heavy with the spirit through spiritualism, conjure, and so forth. So, our ancestral religion is a Hoodoo tradition. Phone religion in North America is the Voodoo tradition. The Yoruba ancestral religion in North America is the Juju tradition. The Bambara ancestral religion in North America is the Gris tradition. So we maintained our ancestral religious practices in North America. When we revisit our ancestral religious practices that have been hundreds of years in our blood circles, we recognize the reality that we have full functioning systems. We are not dependent on anyone outside of our blood circle for our ancestral religious practices, inclusive of oracular divination, healing, medicine, and so forth. We're not dependent on initiates or initiations from the continent of Afuraka, Afuraitkait. We have had that in our circles for the hundreds of years since we've been here, since we first arrived at these shores. We're not dependent on going to the Caribbean to be initiated, by people who have gone to the Caribbean to be initiated so that we can come back and bring our culture back. Our culture never left us. It's been here the whole time. We've been conditioned to believe that we didn't maintain anything North America. Some also in the Caribbean have been conditioned to believe they haven't maintained ancestral culture. They must go and get a culture and come back. That is totally inaccurate. We have maintained our ancestral religious cultures. We have maintained our systems of elderhood. We've maintained our priesthoods and priestesshoods right here in North America. Of course, as we've shown our broadcasts and publications, Hoodoo, the Hoodoo Mind tradition, festivals and so forth, and related books. We have the Akan man, Akan woman, the Odumafo, which is the priests and priestesses. Odu people, the Odumafo, became the Oduman or the Hoodoo man or Hoodoo woman in Akan tradition. The Akan man and the Akan woman being denigrated by the whites and offspring and changing the meaning of Akan man or Akan woman, who were priests and priestesses, healers and healeresses, just like they denigrated the term voodoo actually means deity, god or goddess. They'll try to make voodoo mean evil, charlatan, devil. That's the definition a cracker will give. Of course, it does not mean that. They'll try to do the same thing with hoodoo, as though hoodoo means evil, charlatanism, superstition, all that nonsense. Hoodoo is from the Akan term undu, which means medicine, as we said, from plant life, roots and so forth, mineral life as well. It also means to become heavy with the spirit. We've always used that term when we show etymologically and cosmologically, it goes back to ancient Kanit, Nubia. Udu means the exact same thing. They do the same thing with the terms Akan man and Akan woman. When we called ourselves Akan men and Akan women, we were showing that the Akan man and Akan woman, the healer, the healeress, the root woman, the root doctor, male and female and so forth, medicine giving people, they would say, oh, the conjure man or the kanche man is an Akan person that came from the Akan ethnic group. They denigrated that term into con men as in not AKAN, but CON, like con, like conning people, charlatan, superstitious, worshiping the devil and all this other nonsense. But when we use the term kanche, meaning the utter incantations to bring down the spirit ritual, we use the term undu, meaning medicine, root work and so forth, root medicine. When we use the term Akan man, Akan woman, we're identifying ourselves as our ethnic group. We've never stopped identifying ourselves properly. The whites and their offspring tried to denigrate these various. So we go into detail in our various podcasts and books showing that we maintain our priesthoods and priestesshoods. We maintained our ritual practices. We maintained the full functioning tradition. Okay, some are saying that the sound is in and out. So let me know if you can still hear. In the chat room, let me know if it's still going in and out. There has been an issue with Blog Talk over the past week. Let me know for some other people, and we'll try to remedy that. Okay, just anybody else is having the same issue, one or two say they were having an issue with sound in the chat room. And in fact, on the phone line, if you can hear clearly, hit the number 1 so we can see that your hand is raised. So we want to make sure you can hear on the phone line. Okay, so somebody raised their hand saying they can hear. All right. So I'm going to continue the broadcast. If there's some other issues, we might have to. Okay, so some people's sound is fluttering a little bit. So we may be able to clean it up after the archive. So we're going to go through with the broadcast, but we might have to clean it up with the archive and so forth. But the key here is the AKYISAN conference is coming up March 12th. A conference we're dealing with AKYISAN Ancestral Religious Reversion, returning back to the ancestral tradition that we maintain for hundreds of years here. We'll be presenting on the Hoodoo tradition, the Akan Ancestral Religion in North America. Our sister Voodoo Queen Kalinda Laveau out of New Orleans will be presenting on the Voodoo tradition, the Fang and Ebe tradition, maintained in Louisiana over the past 100 years. Prior to the migration, Voodoo was already, of course, in Louisiana because we brought it in our blood. We have a couple of other presenters that we will be confirming very soon. So that will be taking place as well. All-day event. It's a free event, of course, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. This is the second annual conference. And what we wanted to focus on tonight is this notion of AKYISAN NKOSO, talking about AKYISAN Ancestral Religious Reversion as a movement, not as an event, as a movement. As we said in the broadcast and upcoming description for the show, the movement is in the sense of a revival, an expansive revival movement. Our people are returning to the ancestral religious practice. This is the most expansive and exponential growth of the ancestral religious practice since we forced the end of enslavement in the Western Hemisphere over 150 years ago. When we forced the end of enslavement because we waged war against the whites and their offspring, powered by our ancestral religious practices, guided by the AMANSEM and Ngengang, the deities and ancestral spirits who directed us on the means to wage war against the whites and their offspring, kill the whites and their offspring, ourselves, metal armaments, as well as chemical and biological warfare. We forced the end of enslavement. We forced the Gullah Wars to wage war against the United States for decades. We forced emancipation, forced abolition, forced reunification initiatives, and so forth, powered by our ancestral religion. Forced emancipation, then our people were quote-unquote freed and so forth. Some of our people remained in the South, some migrated in other parts of the country, established hundreds of independent black towns. Some of them, those settlements lasted into even recent times. You still have some of those black towns still in existence who've been around for nearly 100 years. So, but some of our people fell into Christianity, later Islam and other fake religions and so forth, but now there is a return to ancestral religion, this expression of ancestral religion, not simply going to the continent or connecting people from the continent or people who've been initiated and so forth and receiving their recent expression of ancestral religion. When you do that, what you're doing is simply embracing their expression of our ancestral religion. We have our own expression of ancestral religion based on our locative identity. And no one from the continent, no one, if you're living in North America, no one from the continent or no one from the Caribbean or no one from anywhere else can show you how to express your ancestral religion rooted in your locative identity. Only your ancestors and ancestors, your direct blood circle, navigate life in this region of the Earth Mother successfully can show you how to function as part and within this region of the Earth Mother. Only your elders and eldresses of your direct blood circles who still continue to practice the ancestral expressions can show that. No one outside of your blood circle can show you that because they function in this region of the Earth Mother and have entered this region and learned the specific etiwadi or taboos that have been developed and manifest in this region and so forth. They cannot show you that. The best that can happen is you have diplomatic relations with our people on the continent in different parts of the world, Afurakani, Afuraitkaitnit people. You can learn different things with regard to their expression of ancestral religion, but they cannot initiate you into your own ancestral religion. And our conference on the continent cannot initiate and our conference in North America into Hoodoo ancestral religion in North America. That's our expression rooted in our experience, the AMANSEM in this region, their manifestations in this region, the deity manifestation in the region, as well as Asase for the Earth Mother in this region of Afuraka. Yoruba person can initiate Yoruba person in North America who's practicing Juju, the Wanga tradition, the Wanga tradition. They can't teach you that when you're practicing that for hundreds of years in its unique expression here in the Western Hemisphere. So what we're dealing with, and it is a movement. It's not a moment over the past years to be massive. It's the growth is recognized, finally been able to embrace and identify who we are, starting in a certain way within the 60s and then the 90s and so forth, where it became more popular. People looking at the Yoruba tradition, quote-unquote Akan tradition, and certain aspects of doing Homi and Balloon and so forth, and other tradition, various different things. They were looking at what people are doing on the continent, in the Caribbean, going to different places, getting initiated and coming back from shrines and changing names and speaking dialects and so forth. That's very extroverted, that was external, going to learn someone else's expression and then coming back and trying to implement expression right where we are, totally neglecting the centuries development of ancestral religion right in our own blood circles. This is why that movement to ancestral religion or ancestral traditional religion has not stuck or has not fully expanded or grown exponentially, because our people knew that there was something. We were leapfrogging our own because we thought that we had. We were offspring even by some on the continent. We never had a tradition, and therefore, so we make our own prawa and so forth, and move forward to expression, and with results. And at the end of the day, being unfulfilled, you cannot fulfill your function in creation if you're not allowing yourself spiri-genetic ancestresses and ancestors and your specific function in the world based on your connection to the Earth Mother in the region upon her body within which you dwell. And of course, the expressions of the Aboso in this region. So, when we utilize the term nkoso, that's an Akan term. And if you look in our book, Anidaho, which it means awareness, this is the book as a collection of articles dealing with the origin of the term God, as well as the origin of the term Ngengang and Ngengang of Amen and Amenet. Some individuals ignorantly have put forth the function that Ngengang is really the term neg or nigger in ancient Kemet, and we're calling ourselves nigger in ancient Kemet, and nigger means God, and it's pure stupidity. So in our publications, we show the actual etymology and cosmology of the term God for the first time, properly defined. We also show the etymology of Ngengang and Ngengang. We also show the origin of the term Naga as well as Nega, showing that these terms have nothing to do with the term nigger, which a lot of people have been trying to promote foolishly. But we also show their actual etymology. That includes the term negus or nagas or ngas. We show the origin of that term, because nobody was able to show the origin of the term. They believe it originated in Ethiopia. It is used in Ethiopia with regard to royalty forth, but its root is that so-called, which is a misnomer, so-called Semitic dialect of negus or nagas or ngas and so forth. It goes all the way back to ancient Kanat, ancient quote-unquote Nubia. And it's the term ha or kaso, and in Akan that's nkoso, and we go into detail about that. The reason why we utilize that term with regard to movement, we'll get into cosmology right now. So you look at our book, Anidaho, we'll show you the page number. You can download that from our Nhoma publications page on the website, page 32. It says Nehesu, Negus, and Nkoso. That's the title of that particular section. There's a term in ancient Kemet. To awaken and so forth. They don't know how to vocalize it. They don't know if it's Nehes or Nahas or Nahos or Hos or whatever. They don't know how to vocalize it. It's a title of Nubians themselves, Nehesu or Nhosu, but it also means to wake up, to rouse oneself. But the root also means to be adorned, beautiful, to honor, and a number of different things. In the Akan tradition, that term exists. So the reason why we utilize that term Nkoso. Ko means to go, and so means beyond, above, beyond, and so forth. So when you look on the page, that would be page 34 in the document, Nkoso. You'll see that Nkoso is a praise name or Mrane for the goddess Afi, the Abosom Afi in Akan tradition, which is Het Heru. Nkoso references that which is splendid, grand, gorgeous, brilliantly adorned, and so forth. It also references progress, furtherance, success, prosperity. The verb means while so means up, above, and also upon. That means Nkoso thus references the nature of the energy complex of Afi, who is Het Heru, her children who go above, upon, and beyond. Creative, innovative, artistic wanderers, explorers, progressive, in the natural sense, prosperous, reproductive, furthering of the clan, people, progeny. So when they're talking about progress, ko, so, to ko, go, so, up, above, upon, and beyond, going beyond what is currently happening, making progress, being progressive in the real sense, furthering of the clan, the people, the progeny, and so forth. This is why we utilize that term, AKYISAN reversion, in the regard of moving forward in a progressive way, going beyond the state that we're in right now. We're talking about a movement, AKYISAN Ancestral Religious Reversion as a movement. When you embrace your ancestral culture, your locative identity, you recognize as Akan, phone in the Western sphere, reestablishing that in your clan, right in your specific unique, we utilize that term. Now, if we look at the further definitions of the term, it's spelled NHS or Nhas in ancient Kemet. The Coptic variation of the term Has, that's the vocalization. Has in Akan and Kos, it means the same thing. So what does it mean in ancient Kemet? The term Nhas in ancient Kemet, it can mean to praise, to commend, to honor, to do honor, to reward one to whom grace and favor has been shown, praise, the praised ones, and so forth, brilliantly adorned, a number of different things. But it also means to rouse oneself, to rush, to move forward, one who can be restless, constantly wants to move and expand, and so forth, all these different things. Now, we look at the divinity Het Heru, and we show an image of her. The foundation of the term Kos in ancient Kemet, which is Koso in Akan, meaning the one who is praised, renowned, blessed, is in reference to royalty. This is why in ancient Kemet they'll say Nkoso. Nkoso is a title of the Sudani Het Heru, the form of Het Heru in the Sudan, meaning in quote unquote Nubia, in Kanit, in the South Kemet. Her title is Nkoso in ancient Kemet, and then in Nubia, which lends itself to the term in ancient Kemet. Her title in Akan tradition, people who are born on Fida Friday, children of Afi, Afua, and so forth, they're called Nkoso as a praise name, which means brilliantly adorned and so forth, but also progressive, innovative, and so forth, reproductive, because Het Heru, or Chet Chair, she's called in Akan, governs the reproductive system, reproduction, but also progression, development, and so forth. So let's go into a little bit more information with regard to Het Heru. When we show on our Akradin Bosom, on the Akradin Bosom page on our website, the female divinity governing Aida is the Abosom Afi, also Afu. She's the male Abos or female Abosom, the plant Afi, called Vince. Her title Afi in Akan comes from root Fi, from her title in ancient Kemet, Fai. That's a title of Het Heru in ancient Kemet. So Het Heru is called Fai in ancient Kemet. She's called Afi in Akan. Het Heru in ancient Kemet is pronounced Chetche in Akan. So she's called Het Akan. She's also called Afi in Akan. She's called Het Her in Kemet, or Het Heru in ancient Kemet. She's also called Fight in ancient Kemet. Same two titles for the same divinity in both expressions of culture. She's the Abosom deity of beauty, song, art, dance, music, adornment, creativity, innovation, exploration, adventure, etc. She governs the sensual attraction, which is the precursor to procreative activity and that which replenishes its harmony or pleasure. This is the foundation of creativity, and thus she governs various expressions of creativity. Physiologically, Afi governs the reproductive system of the Afurakani Afuraitkaitnit individual, the body, the fallopian tubes in the female, the epididymis in the male, as well as the divine reproductive system in creation within the divine body of Amenet and Amen. So, that's her function in creation. This is why she has the praise name Nkoso. Nkoso means on one hand brilliantly, splendid, but also to go above and one who's adventurous, soaring, one who is progressive, who is reproductive, furthering of the clan and the project. That has to do with movement, progressive movement, furthering of the clan, success, prosperity, progress, but also splendid, adorned, brilliant, showing the brilliance, the beauty, the harmony of the culture. When we say AKYISAN NKOSO, the Ancestral Religious Reversion movement, the kind of movement that we're talking about is progressive movement. We're returning that sign, returning to our inherited tradition. So we have our AKYISAN conference. It was the first of its kind last year. This is our second annual conference coming up, and we'll be exploring these themes in detail. Give me 1 second. We're just going to make sure everything is straight. You'll see the information. You'll see the 7-part series we did on AKYISAN, fully defining that in its various expressions. We did a series on Blog Talk. You can listen to those 7 parts. We published the AKYISAN Journal last year, Volume 1, articles about ancestral religious practices, inclusive of Voodoo and Hoodoo and Juju and Wanga and Ngengang and so forth. Articles also in the back of the journal, we have our market listing all of the vendors and showing their businesses and so forth who participated, but also other Black businesses, organizations, and institutions who took it out in the journal. The marketplace part of the book. We'll be publishing Volume 2 of AKYISAN, our Ancestral Religious Reversion Journal. It will be released on the day of the conference. The softcover version we will give away for free to everyone who attends the conference, as we do with all of our presentations. And so you come to conference, you receive a free copy of the book. But the ebook version will be online. The softcover version will be available as well from that forward. So you can just soft version and download the free ebook version. All 24 of our books, including AKYISAN, we have it available in softcover. They range between $8 and $11, all 4 books. And we have the ebook versions, which is the full version in ebook format, and all of those are free downloads. We make our ebook versions free in case people do not have the funds to purchase books at the time, but they would still like to know they are. We make the ebook versions free, but if you support the work, that you can also purchase the software version. So AKYISAN will be, the second volume will be on the website. If you would like to place an ad for your business, your organization, your institution, the AKYISAN page is a full-size 8.5 by 11 magazine-size book. We print it in full color. Your ad will be in full color. We have had over 3.2 million hits on our website over 12 months. So when we place our book on the website, including the ebook version, which is the free download that anybody can download, you will have hundreds of eyes over time checking out the book. Of course, you have thousands of your ad. So the ad rates the book, $25 for a 1/4 page, $30 for a half page, and $50 for a page full color ad. All of the ads are in color. have this Egua marketplace section, just like we talked about in our broadcast last night. We talked about spirit possession and material possessions, ancestral economy. There's an intersection between spirit possession, Okom, as well as material possessions. There's a spiritual foundation with regard to our approach to economic development. When you have a spiritual foundation and engage in self-purification, then you have a natural inclination to work together with those who are part of your Oman, your nation. Afurakani, Afuraitkaitnit people only. We have the 7 principal values of nation building. That includes methods of food production and preservation, includes establishing methods of curing disease, establishing a military structure, establishing institutions of education and training, establishing sound systems of governance, jurisprudence, the building of homes on acquired land, manufacturing of clothing. These 7 principal values of nation building, that includes, that's part of that ancestral economy, where we take our resources and put them into supporting values of nation building, supporting institutions, supporting manufacturing, supporting everything that we need. So there's a spiritual foundation to economic development. So we talked about that, and this is why we have the Egua marketplace section in the book. And we have an Egua marketplace at the event. So we have vendors there all day long. You can shop with vendors all day long, as well as presentations from the various presenters on various specific aspects of our ancestral religious traditions. So this is a movement. AKYISAN NKOSO, this progressive movement. This is a quote-unquote revival of ancestral religious practice, born of the blood circles, the spiri-genetic blood circles of our ancestresses and ancestors in this region of the Earth Mother since we have been here. This is something that we have been moved to establish and put forward and progress by our Nsamanfo, our spiritually coded ancestresses and ancestors. It simply stimulates that desire for that kind of movement, that progressive movement, that moving forward and so forth. It stimulates that has been embedded within us wherever our people are in the Western Hemisphere, whether you're in North America, in the Caribbean, within South America and so forth. There is a revival now going on with regard to ancestral religious practice. Just like the Akan people practicing Hoodoo in North America from a purified perspective, purging the perverse elements have infiltrated people using the Bible and Christianity and this kind of nonsense in the Psalms, corrupting real Hoodoo practice or Undu practice. That is purged out, those fictional cartoon characters. The same thing has happened with regard to the Akan tradition in Jamaica. Obia, which is popularly called, people are returning to the Obia tradition. The whites in Alice Springs tried to demonize that and brainwash black people in Jamaica, demonized Obia and so forth, and those people became Christians, worshiping a fictional white character and so forth. People are returning to Obia, the Akan ancestral religion, and restoring that practice. In South America, in Suriname, the Akan ancestral religion is called Winti, and people are restoring the purity of that tradition. White creation and elements, pseudo-cultural elements, Christian elements, and all kind of nonsense, returning to the pure ancestral Akan expression in South America. So this is taking place in the Western Hemisphere. The same is true of Juju, the Yoruba tradition, purifying the Juju tradition that we maintained for hundreds of years, purifying the Voodoo tradition all over the South and different parts of the country, purifying the Wanga tradition, Ovambo and other Bantu-speaking people in the Gullah constellation, purifying that tradition, the Gullah and Geechee tradition, the Gola Kisi tradition, purifying it of those perverse elements with Christianity, perversions, and getting back to the original practice and so forth. This is revival. This is restoration. This AKYISAN, this is reversion. Progressive movement, rooted in our firm understanding. Once we published the Uben Shang, Wabo Jita, and the various publications, and people began to learn exactly who they are, then they had the foundation in the process of AKYISAN or reversion. So this is what we're dealing with. We want to let people know that number one, of course, we look forward to you coming to the event in March. We have about 3 vending spaces left still available. If you would like to vend at the event, go to our AKYISAN page on the website. The vending registration application is there. You can download that. The vending space for the entire day, all day, is $30. And we provide 1 6-foot table and 2 chairs. So the vending spaces are first come, first serve. So therefore, whoever comes first and fills out the application first, of course, first come, first serve, you can make the payment on the website. If you would like to place an ad in the journal, you can go to the website as well, whether it's a 1/4 page for $25, half page $35, full page $50, of course, full color. Go right to the page, send your JPEG files via the email address that's provided on the page, and you can make the payment there. We need the JPEG files ASAP because we, of course, want to have time to make sure everything is in place so we can have the book published on time and so forth, So we need those JPEG as soon as possible. Some people are promoting their organization, homeschools, and so forth. Institutions, some people taking out personal ads just to support the work that we are doing, showing their study group that you got with 1 or more people online or in person or some combination thereof. That, and you place an ad that stimulates other people to say, you know what, I need to start a study group as well. And they feed off of that leads that and lends to that progression, that nkoso, that progressive forward movement. So we're going to take, we have some, if you have any questions on the phone line, hit the number 1 so we can see that your hand is raised. If you have any questions or comments in the chat room, of course, you can post those in the chat room now. So we're going to hit on the phone line real quick. Okay, Michiawo on the phone line, 2843. You had a question or a comment?
No, just listening.
Okay, Medasa. Okay, so for those who had hit the number 1, because we had to see if you could hear, you can undo it, and if you have a question or a comment, you hit the number 1 again. Because I know earlier we had people hit the number 1 just to make sure they could hear the broadcast. So, yeah, so you can take it off, and then if you have a question or a comment, you can hit number 1 again so you can get back in the call queue. So we just want to make sure. Okay, on the phone line number 0527, did you have a question or a comment, or you were just listening? Number 0527. So you're just listening. All right. So one of the things that we are working on, of course, with the sign movement, nkoso, we're bringing people out for this free presentation. One of the things that we're doing is trying to assist in the covering of their expenses, their travel expenses, and at the same time, we'll be giving away the free books. We've given away over 1,200 books now at our various presentations in DC and around the country. Every time we've had a monthly presentation for 14 months straight in DC, but then we've also done presentations in different cities. Whenever we have a presentation, number 1, they are always free. They're always open to the Afurakani, Afuraitkaitnit community only. So you come to a free presentation, and at every presentation, whatever city we're in, we also give away a free copy of the book that we are presenting upon to everyone who comes until we run, of course. So we've given 1,200 free softcover books to the different people in the community at different places we've gone. We're going to do, of course, the same thing here at our conference. So we publish those softcover books and give those away for free. That's an expense. And, of course, assisting with the expenses for some of the out-of-town presenters. So when you make an ad purchase, that assists us in that process. Also, if you like to assist the work, if you don't want to take out an ad or you don't need to take out an ad and so forth, but you like to assist the work that we are doing, We continued our sale on our 24 books, the entire set for $91 plus shipping, which is $100 for the entire 24 book set. That sale button is still on the home page on the website, so you can take advantage of that. And then we also have the regular discount of the first 5 books for $40. That is Afuraka, Afuraitkait, the origin of the term Africa, Maranechi, divine law, love, and divine hate, Kukutuntum, the ancestral jurisdiction, where we prove the fictional characters in the Bible, Quran, Talmud, how they were manufactured, including Jesus, Yeshua, Muhammad, Abraham, Isaac, Ishmael, Solomon, Sheba, Menelik, Moses, Aaron, Buddha, Brahman, Allah, Yahweh, and so forth, these fictional cartoon characters. We also talk about the cosmological foundation of creation. We also have the book Okra Complex, the soul of Akan Fo, which is dealing with the nature of the Ka, divine consciousness, which is a deity dwelling in the hidden region of Afurakani, Afuraitkaitnit people. And our entire functioning creation revolves around the Ka'et, the Kra, the Krawa. We had publication as well. We have Ubin Sheng, ancestral summons, dealing with the ritual practices that we engage in and their functionality within our lives. Ritual song, ritual dance, ritual prayer, oracular divination, spirit possession, spirit communication, shrines, talismans, amulets, idols, sacrifice, nature worship, all these various things that we engage in, functionality and their utility with regard to the receiving, processing, and transmitting energy in a measurable, quantifiable fashion. That's what the Ushang book deals with. So those first 5 books, which are foundational, we have a permanent 20% discount on that 5-book collection. That is 5 books for $40. So, but our books range between $8 and $11. So whatever purchase you make, of course, that assists us in what we're doing. As we shared earlier, in the last calendar year with regard to the Gregorian calendar, January 1st to the 31st of 13,015, so-called 2015, the 1.46 million hits on the website. In the most recent calendar year, according to their dates, December 31st of 13,016, so-called 2016, we received 3.1 million hits on the website. So we doubled the traffic. That is thanks to you sharing our work and thank you for sharing our website, sharing our broadcasts, and posting and liking and sharing everything on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and YouTube and so forth, because that's the reason the work has been getting out. And when you share that information, including emailing and so forth, then more people get a chance to learn about the culture, learn about the free book downloads and so forth, and access the information. So to expand and once again that also that movement, that exponential growth, because we've been able to build that kind of capacity, million hits going back just a few years to over 400, then over a million, then 1.46 million, and then 3.1 million. We've been able to build that kind of capacity. Now you can take advantage of the capacity that we have built over the past 4 years. You can take advantage of that by placing an ad, and now that you have hundreds of thousands on books because of the capacity we built, your $25 ad will generate a big deal of business for your business organization or institution. Great deal of support from that. This is one of the reasons that we have the Egwa market section. There's a connection between spirituality, not only of politics, but also economic, socialization, and so forth. Spirituality or ancestral religion undergird. Make sure that we didn't miss anything else in the chat room. Okay, we want to make sure we didn't miss anybody online. Okay, on the phone line. Your phone line number 5179. You had a question? No.
1 second.
Hello.
Mikilmo Ojidafo.
That's up. I can hear you.
What are the ways in which one's personal Nananom Insamanfo may communicate messages to them.
Okay, so you said what are the ways you can communicate? There are various ways.
What are some of the ways in which one's personal Nananom Insamanfo may communicate messages to them?
Okay, so various different ways. So, for example, sometimes they will communicate directly when people are engaged in work ancestral communication at the shrine. Sometimes they will communicate, which is a very effective way, through dreams. You're doing spiritual work, but then when you dream, you have lucid dreams, and the Nsamanfo will come directly and communicate directly with you. Sometimes they will communicate through your ancestral animal totems, the totems that are connected to your ancestral clan. You may not even recognize or know out front. Like our brothers and sisters on the continent who maintain language and so forth, they would know specifically what clans are associated with which animal totems, and they know when this particular animal shows up on a consistent basis at specific junctures in life, they know this is their clan totem because they've known that. Over here, this still happens with us, but we may not know the specific name in the language, but we know that at specific junctures in life, that black crow shows up at specific junctures, or the eagle shows up at specific junctures, or a deer shows up at specific junctures, or a specific kind of cat shows up at specific junctures, because this is actually the clan for hundreds of years, actually thousands of years. So they will see that animal totem at specific junctures in life to communicate a message or push you away from certain activity or draw you towards certain activity. So a number of different ways, the totems, through dreams, through direct communication, through spiritualization, through ritual practice at the shrine, and so they can show up clairvoyantly for people who are clairvoyant. Some people are not clairvoyant where they can't see spirits, but they will communicate clairaudiently where you can hear. Some people can't hear. Some people are sentient. They can feel heat moving through their body at a certain point, or a coolness because the Nsamanfo spirit shows up. So there are different ways that they communicate their presence and teach you things, show you things, or keep you away from them.
Okay. How can I recognize my animal totem, and what are some of the rituals that I can do at my shrine?
Okay, so, and that's key. So one of the broadcasts that we did, and it's on YouTube, of course it's on the blog radio page as well, it's called Nkomre, Ancestral Shrine Communication and Liberation. So in that broadcast, what we did was we examined 4 articles are all on the website, and those are in the description in the video. 4 different articles dealing with ancestral shrine communication. One of them is Nkomre, Ancestral Shrine Communication. One of them is called Nsama Nkomre, Ancestral Shrines in Kemet. One of them is called Nsama Nkom and the 7 Senses. And that's all different approaches, ways that Nsamanfo communicate. And then one of them is called Ojirako and Akwamuman. So those 4 different articles dealing with ancestral communication, shrine work, including one gives a basic setup of an ancestral shrine and how to approach, including a ritual prayer and a link to an audio link to hear that ritual prayer and so forth. All of that, all those links, those articles are in the description box of the video, but in the broadcast, we dissect those articles in detail dealing with ancestral shrine communication. So that's the foundation. Ancestral communication at the ancestral shrine, the Nkomre, that is the central institution of learning within ancestral religious practice. So when you start from that basic foundation, establishing just a basic fundamental shrine, it doesn't have to be something very elaborate, and we go into detail about that article broadcast. It's a separate space for you to communicate with your Nsamanfo, and the more consistent you are, the more receptive you become. It's very similar to working out. The more you consistently work out, the more receptive your muscles are, and the stronger you become, and the more, the bigger you become and so forth, the more cut you become. Same thing is here. The more consistent you are, the more receptive you become. The more you can hear, the more you can see, the more you can feel, the more you can experience, the more you can verify those things after you leave the shrine. You can communicate with your Nsamanfo wherever you are because it's connected to your body. Your physical body is the first shrine. Your sperm cells and ovum cells that came to create you, they came out of the body of your mother and father, which, that goes back genetically thousands of years, of course. Your physical body is a magnet for your ancestresses and ancestors. Just like your spirit is attached to your physical body, their spirit is attached to physical bodies of your DNA and so forth, so they're connected to you at all times. But when you establish a shrine, that gives a specific space, so you got a specific space, a specific time, and a specific manner in which you communicate. It simply magnifies their energy. So it's, as we always say, just like you have a magnifying glass, if the sun is shining on some dry leaves on the ground, they just become a little bit warm. If you put a magnifying glass in between the sunlight and those leaves, then you can cause those dry leaves to combust because the magnifying glass simply has magnified the energy of the sunlight. The output has not changed, but the magnification of the sunlight has changed, and you can pinpoint that light and cause a combustion. Ancestral shrines and shrines in general, shrines for deities and so forth, they are magnifying devices for the energy of the Nsamanfo. They are magnets, but they're also magnifying. They are magnets for the Nsamanfo to take up residence in that temporary space that you have created for them, a physical space for this to take up residence in, and then it magnifies their energy. So when you go to that space and evoke Nsamanfo, the ancestors, and invoke the Abosom, then their energy is magnified. That affects you, so you can become more receptive, more clear, more in tune, because you've magnified their energy at that space. And that's you, and of course, that reflects positively with regard to them as well. So the ancestral shrine is the key institution. And when you go to the ancestral shrine communication and liberation broadcast, we go into that in detail.
Midasay Ajita Fo.
Okay, Yanni Seda, we appreciate the call. Okay, we'll check to make sure if there's other, make sure this is not a hand up on the phone line. Did you have on the phone line number 7732? Did you have a question or a comment, or were you just listening? Okay, 7732. Okay, that was just listening. All right. So, make sure we didn't miss anything. All right. Okay, and so actually it's only a few minutes left in the broadcast. So, what I want everyone to do is to check out the AKYISAN Ancestral Religion page website. We have created a separate page on Facebook just for the AKYISAN conference broadcast there as well. Of course, and we've talked about this in the past, we have our Akongwa Suya Dine is the physical evidence that we are working to establish for the institution. Ideally, what we would like to do is to hold the conference in the center that we're working to open. The only way we can do that, of course, is if we generate enough funds to open the center before March. But right now, we're relying on the space that we have been renting over the past year. So it will be held at that space unless we can raise the funds to open up the center. But Akongwa is our institution. All of our 24 books, all of the nearly 270 broadcasts, the 80-plus articles, all the work we do, Oberima Afurakani Manhood based on the book, Akuma Sa, abuse and the ritual practice for overcoming addictions, religious culture, the domestic abuse, neutralization, all these workshops that we do, the Sankopa Juma, training against cultural services and human services workers on how to incorporate culture in their therapeutic interventions with their clients and so forth. The various training we have, the presentations, the conferences, the books, everything that we do is institution Akongwa Suya include the sponsoring of these conferences and the free book giveaways, over 12 books and so forth that we've given away, the no qualified entrepreneurship option. So anybody who needs to work, we have an entrepreneurship option, a self-employment option. You can become employed immediately by being the leader of our 20 books. You're working for yourself. You're not working for us. You're working for yourself. You simply purchase the books wholesale and distribute them retail in your area. Wholesale price is 35% off of the regular retail price of $8 to $11 for our books. And then you sell them to your friends, family, co-workers, people you engage with, and so forth. So once again, when we teach ancestral religion and nation building and restoration and development and so forth, we must have an economic option for our people. We can't talk about these kinds of things, but then when it comes to, is there an option for our people who have been forced out of the labor market and so forth, or through racism turned down on a regular basis, we need to have options. We can't just talk about these things. We must have options, and we have an option. When we have our center, we can expand those options. There will be more employment opportunities in the shipping and the printing and shipping arm, the publication arm, the publishing arm of our institution. We publish all of our books. We print them in-house on our own printers in color. We do all the publishing, printing, shipping, and so forth. So when we have the center, we can expand the publishing arm, and we'll have employment opportunities in the center. In addition to the self-employment option, distributor option, which is already ongoing. And some people are already distributors generating money from selling our books. So it doesn't matter what your previous work history has been. You can begin immediately. We have that option. So those different programs that we have been promoting and so forth, we'll be able to expand those programs, expand our class offerings, which of course will all be free, expand our broadcasting into the documentary work that we are planning to do. All those things will be expanded with the center. So if you support the work that we are doing, you can go to our AKYISAN page and contribute. And we're going to put that link. It's on the fundraiser platform, fundrazr.com, AKYISAN, and we posted that on Facebook as well. Of course, any contribution of $15, we have an option of receiving one or more of our books in return for your donation. So that way you have immediate benefit from donating, and the long-term benefit is the center, first of many in different parts of the country. This is the first one that will benefit our people employment-wise and spiritual cultivation-wise, political-wise, economic-wise, and so forth. So if you support the work we are doing, please support that. We've had the piece going for something like 9 weeks so far. On average, we've been receiving about one donation per week. So we're not on track yet to generate enough funds at one donation per week to open up the center. But we have enough people right within our groups on Facebook, and the people who tune in to be able to generate the funds to open up the center if people participate. For those, so if you've benefited from the work, to the AKYISAN on our fundraiser platform, fundraising campaign, and so forth, that was not only assist in opening the center, but even in the immediate with regard to the conference, that will allow us to assist us with book giveaway, printing the free books, and so forth, as well as the expense for the out-of-town presenters who are coming in on their own expenses to participate in this free conference for the community. So you can check that out there. If you have any questions or comments, further questions or comments, connect with us on Facebook, Akan on Facebook, on Facebook, Ojira on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and of course follow us on this platform, Blog Talk Radio. Click the follow button so you can get all of the updates and so forth. Anytime we send out the new broadcast announcements and so forth, you can do that. And finally, we have our own social media network, ojiramind.spruce.com. Put that link in the chat room real quick. ojiramind.spruce.com. We must have our own separate social media network, separate from Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and so forth, where you're not sanctioned, be blocked, and end up in Facebook jail for days and weeks at a time, and you post and restricting your posts, restricting your event notifications because you're posting too much accurate information. So we have our own separate social media network, Ojira Mind, the Purified Nation Network. It's spelled Ojira Mind, ODWIRAMAN SPRUZ, spruce.com, ojiramind.spruce.com, ojiramind.spruz.com. It's very similar to Facebook. You sign up, we'll approve you. You create a profile, post decisions. People post videos and photos, and we post all the updates and event notifications. So it's very similar to Facebook. It's just our own separate social media network that we pay for on a monthly basis. So we can communicate, and people who are sensitive information, people who are networking in this country and around the world, our people only, of course, are members of the site. And that also is a way for you to be updated on everything that is happening within Ojira Mind, the Purified Nation, Afurakani, Afuraitkaitnit, people in the Western Hemisphere, all of our events, and so forth, here as well as around the country. So you can check that out. So again, Yedase, we thank you for tuning into the broadcast, and Yebesha, we will meet again. Heads up.